driving trains.
Jami-Lee Ross.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Mr Chair, one has to be a little concerned about what happens in the Labour Party during the dinner break. Firstly, we've got Phil Twyford talking about fetishes. Then we've got Claire Curran sitting directly behind him talking about people getting bitten on the bum. And then we have talk about lemon trees as well and what goes on underneath the lemon tree. Mr Chair, I am a bit concerned about what happens in the Labour Party during the dinner break. Mr Chair, what we know from the speeches that we heard from the opposition benches is that they're completely missing the point about the economic benefits that transport has for New Zealand. We know that the Labour Party opposes just about everything we do on the economy. We know they oppose just about every job creation policy we have. And now we also have further proof that everything we want to do that will bring an economic benefit to New Zealand through the transport system, they also oppose. Mr Chair, let's have some real figures around roads, because we know the opposition dislike roads. They hate roads, they think they're evil, they think every dollar spent on roads is terrible, when actually the opposite is true. Mr Chair, let's have some numbers. 6% of roads in New Zealand carry 35% of traffic. They carry 19% of freight. These high-use roads need further investment. They didn't get the further investment required under the last 9 years, but we're putting our money where our mouths are. Mr Chair, we're spending an extra $12 billion over the next 10 years. $12 billion in transport, roading infrastructure that would never have been spent if it was up to the Labour Party, if they were still in government. And that $12 billion is going towards those high-use roads. 92% of freight in this country moves on roads. 92% of freight in this country helps to build the economy in this country, and that's 92% of freight that would be underinvested in if Labour were in office. Mr Chair, we've got the priorities right with transport. We've got the priorities right with transport because we know New Zealanders have endorsed our plans. They endorsed our plans during the election. They like what we're doing. The provincial areas in this country have been heavily supported through the Roads of National Significance and the other national government's roading projects. Mr Chair, one of the most offensive comments that opposition parties make on transport is to call the Pūhoi to Wellsford a holiday highway. Right. To the people living in the far north, to the people living in Rodney, they know the economic benefits that road will bring. They know that they need to grow as a local economy up there. They know that moving freight from one part of that economy, that local economy, to the other is important for their future growth. And they know that provincial New Zealand needs investment in roads, the investment we're putting in. The Minister from Tauranga knows this. Todd McClay from Rotorua knows this. Provincial New Zealand knows that we need further investment in this area. The Labour Party probably woke up after election day last year wondering why they had such a poor result in provincial New Zealand. They had such a poor result in provincial New Zealand because they offend provincial New Zealand by voting against, speaking against the important roading infrastructure that we're making progress in around the country. And let's take the CBD rail loop, because the panacea, the great transport hope in New Zealand is the CBD rail loop. The CBD rail loop that has a benefit cost ratio of 0.3. Oh. They like to go on about roads of national significance. At least the roads of national significance program has a positive benefit cost ratio, but the great hope for transport in New Zealand, the CBD rail loop, has a 0.3 benefit cost ratio. Let's talk about the number of cars that the CBD rail loop would take off the road. 1,400 cars. That's all the CBD rail loop would do. For $3 billion, we'll see 1,400 cars taken off the road, out of 29,000 car movements every day that we have in Auckland. I'm an Auckland MP. I know that Aucklanders are very, very sceptical about the CBD rail loop. They like the fact that we're putting money into Waterview instead. They like the fact that we put money into the Victoria Park Tunnel. They like the fact that we're putting money into the Puhoi-Wellsford project and other roads of national significance projects, and money going on the CBD rail loop without the numbers stacking up would be a waste. And for members opposite to tell us that a project which has a 0.3 benefit-cost ratio is more important, Mr Chair.
Jami-Lee Ross.
I'll be very short, Mr Chair, and just say that for members opposite to have comments saying that the CBD rail loop is more important than roads of national significance is wrong, it's poor policy, and it's been rejected by New Zealanders.
Honourable Nick Smith.
Mr Chairman, I want to make a contribution on this debate in respect of